Hello everybody, this is Starman, and welcome back to Let's Play Eric the Unready. As you recall, last time we encountered this strange crew upon this ship, this strange raft, watching me as I am watching them. And let us get on with it. This is the south shore of a murky swamp. You see a raft populated by a strange-looking crew here. You see a newspaper here. Get newspaper. Read newspaper. Witch doctor in battle with killer Slimewig. He powerful bad, says tribal medicine man, but I have stronger voodoo. Next time I try with pepper. Mountain of the Gods vaporized by cosmic ray. The Mountain of the Gods was vaporized yesterday by a powerful ray from outer space. Eyewitness reports from the scene tell of a violet beam that appeared moments before the mountain disappeared. One onlooker, however, disputes this account. It was really more of a chartreuse than a violet, said Cecil the Limp, and it had all these really neat magenta highlights that made it sparkly all over. Religious authorities are baffled, and investigations underway to determine if an entirely new set of gods must be fabricated and foisted on the public. Position at Virgin Temple goes unclaimed. An unusual break in tradition occurred this morning when an opening was announced at the Temple of Virgins for a man to serve grapes to the virgins while they were bathing. The man on the waiting list was number 698,493, but didn't show up to claim the job. This is the first time in over 400 years that this position has gone vacant. Damn it. Drexler, I've got another machine and I'm coming after you. Z. Ventenmeyer. Help wanted. Apprentice rock pusher. Long hours, low pay, no hope for advancement. Contact Sisyphus. Humor's out of balance. Need a haircut. Got too much blood. Come to my salon for a whole new you. Theodoric of York, barber surgeon to the stars. Yeah, that one is decidedly obscure even by this game, but another Saturday Night Live reference. That'd be one of Steve Martin's characters, Theodoric of York, the medieval barber and judge and many other things. Esmeralda's Witch Emporium. We will not be undersold. Poison apples by the gross. Hard to find items like newt eyes and frog toes. Always in stock. Senior citizen discounts. One cat. Last seen entering sealed box. Contact E. Schrödinger. Lost. All sense of proportion and decency. Madonna. That's a second Madonna stab in this game, and I really have no objection to that. Alright then, let's go ahead and examine this crew. Examine Scotty. He has gray hair and a gray mustache and seems to have gained an alarming amount of weight recently. Examine Spock, who oddly enough has not been given a lawyer-friendly name. He is tall and thin with pointy eyebrows, a pointy nose, and a pointy chin. His skin has a bluish cast, which is undoubtedly a mild case of apoplexia brought on by prolonged confinement on the same raft with the skeleton. Examine Smirk. He is 250 pounds of captain stuffed into a 175-pound captain shirt. And Zulu. He is a tall warrior who carries both a shield and a spear. Examine the skeleton. Examine Bones. What are you looking at me for? I'm just an old country skeleton who should have stayed home instead of signing on to go gallivanting around the swamp. And we will look at the Indians. Each of them appears to be the strong silent type. Alright, let's go ahead and talk to Scotty. Beam me up, Scotty. I do not think you understand, sir. We haven't any power to spare. What are you wearing under that kilt? Futuristic BVDs. Nice sporin. Thank you, sir, but it's actually me purse. You know, plaid has always been my favorite color. With all due respect, sir, you're a blabbering idiot. Carry on, Scotty. Okay, we'll go ahead and talk to Mr. Zulu. The warrior just shakes his head and stares out into the mist. Talk to Spock. Is there a logical way to find a path through the swamp? Mr. Robinson is a tailor. Mr. Green doesn't like asparagus. Mr. Wilson got on the train before Mr. Robinson, but after Mr. Brown. Therefore, I must logically conclude that we are completely hosed. How come your skin looks sort of blue in the picture? The obsessive asking questions is a phase one usually outgrows in the third year of life. It's curious that it has persisted in youths this long. Who are you? I am not Spock. My name is Nathan Rabanowitz. I live at 32 Morningside Lane. These maniacs have kidnapped me and are holding me captive. Please get in touch with my parents and let them know I'm okay. What's the funniest joke you've ever heard? The one about the virgin, the penguin, and the duck. It cracks me up every time. May the Force be with you. Wrong movie. Oh, sorry. Live long and pay rent. Better, but still not right. Live long and prosper. Bingo. Now get out of here, you chucklehead. Okay, let's talk to Captain Smirk. Are you aware that you're talking into a piece of wood? That would, of course, be the captain's log. True enough, but what you don't realize is that this wood may one day be made into paper. Then, through technology unknown to our time, my words will suddenly appear. Reason enough, I believe, to create this transcript for the ages. Tell me what you really think of Captain Picardy. Sure, he can fly the ship, but can he feel the living, breathing pulse of her? Can he strike out against an enemy without overloading her very delicate systems? How many more sequels are you guys going to make? If there's one thing I have learned is that if we make them, they will come. Second star to the left and straight on till morning. What kind of ending is that? It sounded like a good idea at the time. Eric out. And we'll go ahead and talk to Bones. How long will it take us to find the shore? Damn it, man, I'm a doctor, not a navigator. How long have you been on this raft? Damn it, man, I'm a doctor, not a historian. What's the square root of 5,679? Damn it, man, I'm a doctor, not a mathematician. My arm hurts when I wiggle it. Damn it, man, I'm a... Oh, then stop wiggling it, you idiot. Damn it, I'm done. And finally, we can also talk to the Indians. What's the raft's maximum speed? Ugh. Do you have a better sense of direction than Zulu? Ugh. What did the man say when we picked up the anvil? Ugh. I knew a girl who's ugly with a capital Ugh. Don't you object to being stereotyped in this fashion? Hey, it's a job. Have you seen how bad the economy is out there? So long. Ugh. And, of course, we do have a few things on the silly list to do, so let's attack Smirk. Smirk swings his fist at you, missing your face by a good 3 inches. He slaps the side of his leg with his other hand to simulate the landing of the blow. Much to your surprise, your head snaps back and you go flying onto your backside. You scramble to your feet and wonder how in the world he did that. Attack Spock. Spock pinches your shoulder, which somehow stops you in mid-attack. Attack Bones. What do you come after me for? I'm already dead! Jeesh, you slow! I'm sorry, I don't do a good Forrest Kelly impression. Zulu easily fends off your attack with his shield. Attack Scotty. Then you try it. I may be old, I may be slow, and I may be overweight, and I may be forgetful, but I may be old, but, what was I saying? And attack Indians. A nymph from the Bureau of Indian Affairs appears and kicks you on the shoulder. Stop that, she says, and then disappears. Okay? Kiss Scotty. Then I'll be taking liberties, young man, or I'll knock you on your bunny wee ass. Kiss Spock. Spock passively endures your display of affection. A fascinating ritual, he says, but I felt nothing. Kiss Smirk. Smirk holds you off and says, I prefer to reserve my expressions of affection for members of the opposite sex. Kissing is one of the most potent weapons in my arsenal. That line is just begging for Zap Brannigan to say it. Kiss Bones. I don't have any lips, you idiot! Kiss Zulu. A quick rattle of his spear changes your mind. Kiss Indians. Neither of them look interested. And, of course, Scotty stops you and says, You have reached the final frontier, lad. You'll not be boldly going where no man has gone before. Now we're getting into some serious childhood problems. Neither of them look interested. A quick rattle of his spear changes your mind. I haven't been aboard ship that long. And finally, you blithering dunderhead, I'm a skeleton. What you're suggesting is medically impossible. Okay, yeah, we did the attack on him already. All right, well, let us get on the raft. Cautiously, you board the raft. Wampum Factor 2, Scotty, says the captain. Aye, aye, replies the man in the kilt. Plot your course, Mr. Zulu, the captain says. The warrior hesitates for a moment, then points his spear into the mists. The raft drifts away from the shore and slowly starts off in that direction. Soon you're lost in the mists of the swamp. And we'll go ahead and save the game here. Time passes. Smirk stares confidently into the mist like Washington crossing the Delaware. The raft continues to travel through the fog. Position, Dr. Spock, barks Smirk. Unknown, Captain, replies Spock. We have as little information as a child when it is in the womb. Raft drifts on. Damn it, Jim, we're lost, says the skeleton. Relax, Bones, replies the captain. A temporary inconvenience. He turns to the warrior. Mr. Zulu, please confirm our course heading. The warrior appears in the fog and slowly indicates a new direction to spear. The raft changes course accordingly. Continue sailing through the fog. Smirk begins to look uneasy. Time passes. Analysis, Mr. Spock. We appear to be experiencing locational displacement, Captain. Our situation is similar to that of the child who's been abandoned in Tamiro Cow. Of course, Mr. Zulu. Zulu indicates yet another direction. The raft drifts on. I don't think Zulu knows where he's going, Captain, says Scotty. Time passes. What the hell's happening, Spock? Barks Captain. We become spatially disadvantaged, Captain, caused, I believe, by Mr. Zulu's seeming inability to correctly orient himself to the points of the compass, due almost certainly to the lack of sensory input created by the high concentration of hydrogen dioxide molecules in the immediate atmospheric vicinity. Translation, it's foggy and he's lost. Damn it, Jimmy. Zulu's lost in the fog. Why don't you just say what you mean, you green-blooded idiot? Your anxiety is quite understandable, says Spock. Clearly, you had inadequate toilet training in your youth, which has created propensity for the uncontrolled emotional outbursts, or the hallmark of your somewhat flawed personality. Toilet training? Sputters the skeleton. Listen here, you walking abacus. Gentlemen, please, interrupts the captain. This is not getting us anywhere. Silence falls over the raft. Let's not try that now. The raft continues on its aimless journey through the swamp. Zulu picks a new direction. Suggestions, Bones. Damn it, Jim, I'm a skeleton, not a navigator. Well, Mr. Zulu. Zulu stares visibly into the mist, but says nothing. I never should have signed up for this sequel, mutters the skeleton. We're not getting anywhere at all, sir, says Scotty. A shoreline drifts into view. The crew cheers as the raft lands. You step off the raft only to discover this is the same shore from which you departed so long ago. This is the south shore of a murky swamp. Time passes. Well, we did go through that whole conversation. Now, the solution to this is obvious if you've been paying attention to what the berries we got earlier called roddenberries. And there's that whole newspaper article that talked about them improving the sense of direction of whoever eats them. So we give berries to Mr. Zulu. Zulu gobbles down the berries. He immediately straightens up and points his spear confidently in a new direction. The raft changes course and everybody seems much happier than before. Time passes. You start to hear an unusual noise coming from somewhere up ahead. The noise grows louder and the raft starts to move more swiftly. Shields up, Mr. Zulu, barks the captain. The mist part and you discover that the raft is being drawn toward a great whirlpool. Wampum Factor 4, Scotty, shouts Smirk. Yeah, Captain. The Indians start padding furiously. That would be the engines are moving faster. Whirlpool on the raft. You're on the edge of a giant whirlpool. The rolling waters are sucking the raft even deeper into the maelstrom. Swim in swamp. The swamp has this little game it plays with. The swamp has this little game it plays with people who try to go swimming here. It tries to kill them. So far, the score of the game is Swamp 2,495,987, Adventure 0. Despite the Indians' frantic efforts, the raft gets caught in the current of the rim of the whirlpool. Wampum Factor 6, Scotty, give him all you got. Captain, I do not think the engines can take any more. The raft skims along the rim of the whirlpool, but then the centrifugal force flings it out in an entirely new direction. After a while, the waters calm and the raft drifts up on the shore of a tropical island. Fantasy Island on the raft. This is a lush tropical island overgrown with exotic bushes and trees that come right down to the beach. A small path winds up the hill to the east, leaning in front of a large plantation house that looks as if it were constructed for the sole purpose of sitting out front and drinking mint juleps. You hear a high, small voice call out, "The raft! The raft, boss! The raft!" Eagerly, you splash up onto the shore. A man in a white suit is waiting to meet you. At his side stands a midget who also wears a white suit. Welcome, my friend, to Fantasy Island. My name is Mr. Dork, and this is Dadu. I hope you have a pleasant stay here. The rest of the crew disembarks, and Dork turns to face them. Welcome, my Smark! We meet again. Dork undergoes a startling transformation. He no longer exudes goodwill, and his chest seems to have swelled alarmingly. Oh no, he has turned into Khan! 15 years ago, you abandoned me on this island, Smirk. Certainly it had a beautiful climate and a wonderful house to live in, but it was only my superior intelligence that permitted me to find the front door, and to make my way inside. Khan's voice falls to a throaty whisper. Revenge, Smirk. Revenge is all that I have dreamt of since that day, and revenge is a dish best served with a side order of French fries. So fry you shall, Smirk. This time you shall not escape me. Khan waves his hand and a bamboo cage falls over Smirk and the rest of his crew. Khan hoists them up into the air and then disappears into the house laughing maniacally and babbling incoherently about rich Corinthian leather. Dadu turns to you and says, Khan is the dark side of Mr. Dork's personality. He doesn't come out very often, but when he does, there's only one way to bring him back. It is the universal panacea of the islands, a coconut drink with rum and a little umbrella in it. Bring me such a drink and your friend shall go free. Alright, well, let's go ahead and talk to Dadu a bit more. Does Khan always greet his guests this way? No, he and Smirk had a quarrel many years ago, and the boss is still upset about it. Where do you come from? I come from a neighboring island in the swamp. Perhaps you will travel there. Tell me about the cure for Dork again. You must bring me a coconut drink, monsieur. It must contain some rum and a little umbrella. Where can I find this coconut drink? The swamp is big, monsieur. Perhaps you can find it out there. Where did Dork's clothes go when he turned into Khan? I don't know. I've never figured out how he does that. Tell me about the bolt. The bolt goes far underground, monsieur. It anchors the island to the bedrock, keeping it in place against the powerful, mysterious forces of the swamp. Why do they call it the Swamp of Perdition? Because the name Swamp of Unfathomable Horrors that stalked men's dream was too long to fit on the map. Au revoir, mon petit chow chow. Okay, we'll go ahead and examine Dadu. He stands under 4 feet tall with a round moon of a face. Look at the bushes. They belong to a tropical species, you know, rouse. Try and look at the bolt. It's a large metal bolt that is firmly rooted in the ground. On the bolt are some letters that read, Danger, do not remove, Linchpin Industries. Okay, examine the crew. Besides the captain, the crew consists of a baby doctor, a skeleton, a kilted Scotsman, an African warrior who is holding a spear and a shield, and 2 Indians. At the moment, all of them are imprisoned in the bamboo cage. Let's go ahead and talk to the crew. Smirk says, while we are in this cage, we consider ourselves prisoner of war. Therefore, we are obligated to give you only our name and rank. As you already know this information, there is nothing further than any of us has to say. Now, that figures. And of course, for that kind of action, you should really be looking into the spellcasting series of games. He kicks you in the knee and says, stop that. Dadu kisses you on both cheeks and says, Bonne chance, monsieur. Alright, well, get on the raft. You climb into the raft and sit down in the captain's chair. And we now have this in, this little interface. Note the, Pac-Man symbol on the Federation symbol there. Engines all stop. Swamp Fleet Directive 182334. Submit all forms in triplicate for disapproval. Scotty due for lithium treatment. Engines at 92% efficiency. The Klingons are our friend. There are no such things as Klingons. Engines require periodic maintenance. And you'll see a bunch of these little random gags. Okay, remind you of the Prime Directive. Abuse developing races while you still can. Do not enter the neutral zone unless you feel like it. Warbird uncloaking on the port bow. That was pretty quick. Swamp Fleet reminds crews that swamp rafts of all chiefs and no engines don't get very far. The Klingons are our enemies. Ignore alien orders. These are our friends. There are no such things as Klingons. Yeah, well. Oh, there we go. Mauve alert. Warbird and cloaking off the port bow. Oops, cancel alert. It's just a pelican. And yes, here we have Milligan's Island. You have landed on a sandy beach next to a pleasure boat that appears to have a bashed-in hull. A large beach umbrella is stuck into the stand here, and you hear voices coming from the other side of the boat. You stand and look around. Why did they bring all these clothes? It was just supposed to be a 3-hour tour. Get umbrella. And we'll go ahead and wait and listen to all this. A bottle floats into the water nearby. Get bottle. Look in bottle. Look in bottle. Within the bottle, you can see a matchbook. Get matchbook from bottle. You take the matchbook from the bottle. Little buddy! The professor has built a flying machine, has some trees and a bunch of seashells. All he needs to make it work is 2 paper clips. Sorry, Skipper, I've only got 1 paperclip left. I used all the other ones to make a necklace for Ginger, and she lost it. Read matchbook. In today's uncertain economic climate, do you long to return to a solid, old-fashioned occupation that offers financial security without tying you to a single location? Be a pirate. Do you like meeting new people and then robbing them at sword point? Do you like visiting exotic towns and villages and then putting them through the torch? Do you like blindfolding people and making them walk the plank into shark-infested waters? Then you too may have what it takes to be a pirate. Simply connect the dots on this matchbook to create an item of interest for pirates, and you'll be on your way to joining the exciting world of international piracy. In the small print below, it continues. The Columbia School of Piracy is an equal opportunity corruptor review, not affiliated with the Columbia School of Abacus Training or any other institution. Allow 15 minutes for round-trip bottle delivery. Your mileage may vary. And yeah, this seems like a pretty easy puzzle, but the trick is you actually have to start with the second one, because it only gives you so many lines to complete, and if you try and click on one thinking you need to then go to 2, you'll wind up 1 line short. So, and behold, a fine picture of some booty. Okay, put matchbook in bottle. Drop bottle in water. The bottle floats away. And as long as we're here, an arm thrusts up the surface of the swamp. It tosses you the banana and sinks out of sight again. Time passes. I've got it, Skipper! We'll build a giant slingshot and shoot ourselves over the swamp. All we need is 25 yards of rubber. First, dear, isn't there someone you can bribe to get us out of here? Fix boat. I just want to see if it'll give me a snarky response. Examine the boat. It's a small boat with a bastion hull named Guppy. The professor has developed a genetically altered strain of dolphin. They can talk, they can carry 2 people on their back, and they're intelligent enough to find their way through the swamp. The only problem is that they bred out their ability to swim. Bottle floats in the water nearby. Get bottle. Look at bottle. Within the bottle, you see a certificate. Maybe we could hollow a giant tree, shoot a bunch of gunpowder in one end, and shoot ourselves off the island. What do you say, Skip? Shut up, Milligan. Get certificate. You take the certificate from the bottle. Read certificate. Congratulations, you have qualified to study at the Columbia School of Piracy. Simply bring the certificate to Treasure Island to enroll in your classes today. Well, alright. The professor has built a radio. Now all he has to do is wait for someone else on Taurus to build another one and we'll be rescued. Time passes. I've got it, Skip. We'll sketch together some sails and hold them over the thermal vent over by the volcano. The high air will lift us up and we can hang glide home. Darn, I broke another nail. It's so hard to be glamorous when you only have 3 colors of nail polish. Skipper! Skipper! What is it, little buddy? Skipper, you won't believe it! It was huge! What was? The monster! Prehistoric flying monster was trying to land on the other side of the island. It had big blades whirling around its head, and you could see right into its stomach. There were 2 men inside, and they weren't even dead yet. Luckily, I was able to chase it away by shooting it with the gun the professor made. Skipper? Yes, Milligan? Don't you ever get the feeling you're being watched? What do you mean? Well, here we are, shipwrecked on a desert island, but somehow I get the feeling that there are millions of people watching everything we do. That's nonsense, Milligan. There couldn't possibly be that many people with nothing better to do. Now go back to sleep. Okay, Skip. Skipper! What now, Milligan? I've got this incredible feeling that everything that's happened to me before is going to happen again. Don't be ridiculous, Milligan. You can't rerun your life over and over. Now quit worrying and leave me alone. Aye, aye, Skipper. And yep, we've made it through all of that. So, sit on raft. And we're just going to work our way around clockwise, or counterclockwise. And here we find ourselves at Lilliput. You're moored alongside, that scroll by really quickly. Along the dock through a custom shed and back again, you see a tiny lever here. A tiny dockmaster boards the raft and says, "Welcome to our small island. For obvious safety reasons, we can't allow you to come ashore. However, if you're here as a merchant, just put whatever you'd like to sell on the conveyor belt. What comes out on the other side will be shrunk down to a manageable size." The little man jumps off the raft and disappears in the shed. Okay, let's put umbrella on belt. You drop the umbrella on the belt. It winds through the custom shed and comes back to you much smaller than it was before. You pick it up again. So now we have a tiny umbrella for the drink. And we'll go ahead and do a quick save here as I try and get on belt. The dockmaster pokes his head out of the shed and says, "Shrinking or enlarging people has been outlawed since the Great Dadu disaster several years ago." Yeah. So this is where he came from. Okay, we've now set to export. Put dragon on belt. You drop the dragon onto the conveyor belt and it winds around the shed. Moments later, you hear a loud scream and you see a full-size dragon emerging from the other end. The dragon hops off the belt and settles on the raft, as if to say it's content to go wherever you're going. Alright, we've now restored our tiny dragon to normal size. And just for the comedy of it, put newspaper on belt. Before the newspaper reaches the shed, a small man with a fur hat comes out of the shed and says, "Sorry, comrade, it's not approved reading in our country. It's used to warp minds, rot teeth, and cause social unrest. Better you should try to import it to the decadent Western country. Do Savania. Oh, das vidania." The man disappears and you retrieve the paper. Didn't expect that one. Okay, I think that's all we can do here for the moment, so sit on raft. Okay, now we'll want to avoid the whirlpool there, obviously. Hey, Treasure Island. This is Treasure Island, home of the renowned Columbia School of Piracy. The compound consists of several huts that huddle behind a makeshift fence. A Jolly Roger flies from atop one of the buildings, and the place has a generally illicit look about it. You see a sign here. On the raft, you see a dragon. You stand up and look around. Okay, get off raft. A gnarly pirate comes up to you and says, "Har, if ye be wanting to come ashore, ye needs your certificate. Where be it?" We hand over the certificate and the bottle, and the pirate stands aside to let you off the raft. "Avast!" says the buccaneer. "So, ye wants to be a pirate, do ye? Har, ye come to the right place. Follow me." The pirate leads you into a ramshackle hut with the name Lafite Hall. Over the door, inside are a few rows of bamboo desks. He tells you to sit down and says, "You'll be having 3 classes today. At the end, there'll be a quiz. If you pass, you'll receive your bottle of rum and an eye patch. Now heave to while I fetch your professor." The pirate disappears out the back door, and then you hear rapid footsteps running around the side of the building. The side door opens and the same pirate comes in, only this time he's wearing an eye patch. He strides to the makeshift lectern and clears his throat and begins to speak. "Good morning. I'll be conducting the first of your 3 training sessions today. First, let me fill you in on my qualifications. I've been registered pirate for 16 years, I rank 6th on the all-time booty list, and I'm a founding member of the Keel Hall Club. I was voted Buccaneer of the Year 3 straight years, and twice during that period I served as Vice President of the Steering Committee on Community Relations. My topic this morning is selecting an identity and building a reputation as a pirate. First of all, pirates must have the color of their beards registered with the International Piracy Board. According to the latest list of unused colors, some of the available names are... He fumbles with his notes and continues. Pink beard, salmon beard, burnt sienna beard, peach beard, fuchsia beard, puce beard, cyan beard, summer saffron beard, lavender beard, and mauve beard. Once you have selected an identity, your next problem is to spread your reputation. You'll appreciate the difficulty of this task when you realize that the persons most qualified to testify your ruthlessness will be the very victims whom you have killed. Nevertheless, notoriety must be achieved. It's hard to strike fear into someone's heart if they haven't never heard of you. Consider the following dialogue. Ahoy there! Stand by and prepare to be boarded. Who's gonna make me? It is I, Vermilion, the mighty pirate. Never heard of you. Bugger off. This is clearly an unsatisfactory exchange. We therefore recommend 3 specific procedures to help you spread your reputation. 1. Always let a few victims of your raids survive. They'll be sure to talk when they get back to port. Before you let them escape, however, make sure they know your name. 2. Print up wanted posters with your own name on them. Make up a lurid past for yourself. Spread these posters liberally around the major port cities. 3. Maintain good relations with the press. In particular, keep your eye out for a down-on-his-luck writer who can list as a chronicler of your exploits. With the proper public relations campaign having taken place, let's now revisit that earlier dialogue and see how it goes. Avast! Heed to and throw down your weapons. Who are you? Blackrock Beard, ex-insurance salesman, the swarfiest pirate ever to sail these waters. Eek! That's all for now. Your next instructor will be here in a minute. The pirate leaves the room. Again you hear the rapid footsteps, and then he re-enters through another door, this time wearing the eye patch on the other eye. Good afternoon. I'm here to address the practical side of becoming a pirate. Many people think the way to get started is simply sail out into the shipping lanes and start plundering. No, no, no. Here are the 3 steps you must absolutely take before embarking on your first raid. First, hire a Director of Human Relations. He'll help you identify appropriate staffing levels. He'll also be invaluable in resolving conflicts when your raiding schedule interferes with your crew members' annual and sick leave. Second, get a good accountant. He will help you identify which treasures are worth pursuing. I know my own career blossomed when I stopped chasing ships laden with crude silver ingots and started going after cargoes of negotiable securities and bearer bonds. Your account will also help you take maximum advantage of the rules that govern the depreciation of your ship. Third, don't buy, lease. Everything from cannons to cutlasses. Why pay cash for something that may end up at the bottom of the ocean? Let the other guy take the risk. Remember, successful pirates have always been well-organized small businessmen who are familiar with the principles of sound management. Now please be patient until your next instructor arrives. The pirate leaves and rushes around the other entrance. When he comes in, the eye patch is gone, but he is wearing a wig. That is not an Arta model. Hello, he says, slightly out of breath. The final session today deals with the treasure itself. The rules governing the disposition of booty are well established and are as follows. 1. Steal the treasure. 2. Put it in a chest. 3. Bury the chest. 4. Make a map. 5. Lose the map. This seems simple enough, but you would do well to remember some of the little touches that distinguishes a graduate of the Columbia School of Piracy from a rank amateur. First, you must always mark the actual location of the treasure with an X. This simple yet elegant method is much preferred to drawing a circle around the site, or worse yet, defacing the map with a bunch of crude arrows. Then it is customary to rip the map into several, although no more than 4 pieces. Dripping blood on the map is optional. All reference landmarks should be dramatic natural formations. All sea distances should be recorded in leagues, while land distances should be marked out in paces. Finally, before losing the map, make a copy of it and bring it back here to the school. We will authenticate the location of the treasure, and then dispose of the map in such a way as to encourage fortune seekers and treasure hunters. We do this solely as a public service to the region to ensure a broad tourist base and the continuing influx of outside money which keeps the region economically stable. This concludes your classes. The dean will return in a few minutes to administer the quiz. The pirate races around the building again. When he comes back, the wig and the eye patch are gone. Upon boarding an enemy ship, your first statement should be, "Pardon me, is this ship taken? Permission to come aboard. Avast, ye scum-swilling sons of sea cows, prepare to swallow steel." I'm guessing the last one. The universal symbol of piracy is cross cutlasses over an open treasure chest, the Jolly Roger, copy, star, period, star. Jolly Roger. When ordering drinks at a dockside bar, one asks for grog, lemonade, a white wine spritzer. Grog, 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 grog! A broadside is the part of a barn that regular Navy types can't hit with a cannon, the part of a woman you see when you stand next to her, A whimpering barrage of cannon fire aimed at another ship. That'd be 3. The correct way to punish a mutineer: 1. Make him walk the plank. 2. Write a stern letter to his parents. 3. Send him to bed without supper. Walk the plank! The proper pet for a pirate is A. A piranha, B. A parrot, C. A poodle. That's 1, 2, 3, not ABC. But it is still a parrot. Primary advantage of wearing a peg leg: you can take it off and bash people with it when you get into a fight. You don't have to worry about leaving the house wearing unmatched socks. Chicks dig them. And I'm saying the socks thing. Primary disadvantage of wearing a peg leg: hard to walk across the lawn full of gopher holes, hard to sneak up on people, woodpeckers. Hard to sneak up on people, I think. The best way to pass the time during the interminably boring stretches at sea between raids: 1. Monopoly. 2. Singing 999,990 bottles of grog on the wall. 3. Picking out just one guy in the crew and just staring. I'd say the last one. What is the question most frequently asked by new sailors on the first day at sea? 1. Why are the 3 of them sleeping in my bunk? 2. I'm not supposed to do it there. Why do they call it the poop deck? 3. Are we there yet? That's are we there yet? The pirate takes the quiz away and grades it. He returns and says, "Hard, hard! Ye passed the test. Here's your rum and your eye patch." He takes your rum and walks you back to the raft. "Good luck to ye, and don't forget to be bringing back copies of your maps." The pirate gives you a wave and disappears. Well, you inhale deeply, attempting to get a good whiff of the bottle of rum. It doesn't seem to have much of an odor. You take a sip. A fire ignites in your belly and spreads quickly to your legs. Before you know it, flames start shooting out of your feet, and you shoot up into the sky. You do a couple of loop-loops and come crashing back earthward. Another pirate has to be wondering by saying, they must be watering that stuff down. Let's undo that. We don't want to waste the rum. Alright, well, let's go ahead and sit on... Yeah, I thought they might have a slightly different response here, but it didn't. So, sit on raft. And this one is Monkey Island. You have landed on a wide sandy beach that slopes up to an impenetrable jungle. The largest coconut you've ever seen is sitting here, guarded by a 4-headed monkey. Yeah, I don't need to say where this came from now, do I? Okay. The monkey has 4 heads and lips that go on forever. If you started kissing it now, we'd never get through the rest of this game, and I don't know about you, but I'm getting hungry. No, no, no. Inbreeding is how the monkey got 4 heads in the first place. It smells okay now, but wait until it spends a year in the trunk of Brian Moriarty's car. Yeah, Brian Moriarty being the game designer on Loom, and I have no idea how a coconut would be in his car, or if this is a really, really, really obscure in-joke. Okay, well, clearly... this is what we do to distract the monkey. You give the banana to the monkey, and he immediately scampers off to one side and sits down on the beach. He peels one side of the banana, and then rotates it to get the next side. As he does so, however, the strip that is dangling suddenly reattaches itself to the banana. Puzzled, the monkey rotates the banana to peel the first side again, but the second side pops back up. The monkey scratches his head and repeats the process, and then he does it again. It looks as if he's going to be here for a long time, so get coconut. Now, of course, that coconut is way too big for what we need it for, so we're going to go back. Yep, you drop the coconut on the belt, it winds through the custom shed, and comes back to you much smaller than it was before. Yep, normal-sized coconut. Of course, we need a way of opening the coconut. And I have a feeling we will find that at the last island. You've encountered a small iceberg that blocks the river passage to the southwest. On the raft, you see a dragon. The dragon eyes the obstacle and then sucks back an enormous breath. When it exhales, a hot jet of fire plays across the surface of the iceberg, quickly reducing it to just a couple of ice cubes. Then the dragon gives a polite burp and even the cubes disappear. The dragon flies up into the air, dips its wings once in a salute, and then flies off over the horizon. You stand up and take a look around. And this takes us to Knoll Island. The tall reeds on the southwestern shore of this small island are shielding you from the Knolls who are enjoying a quiet family meal. You are close enough that you can easily overhear bits of their conversation. A trail leads off to these. You stumble around. Stop playing with those intestines. Okay, I have a note here to look at the Knoll dishes. I'll just lean over and take a peek for you. Oh my god, it's... Never mind your F not knowing. And then you jam it in all the way? Yeah, I hate it when that happens. Your cousin Grassy Knoll just took part in a great conspiracy plot. Don't slurp your soup, dear. I'm not slurping, Mom. That's my sucking chest wound. Hardly any blood at all. Oh, how disappointing for you. Can I blow up Dad now, please? Wait until after supper, dear. And if you do it real quick, its heart is still beating. Cool! I never get any eyeballs. You do so. Do not do so. Now, children, you better start behaving or you won't get the flaying tomorrow. So, Junior, other than torturing swamp eels, what did you learn in school today? Chopped into so many parts, it took me the better part of 2 hours to get her back together. You're so lucky to have such interesting work. Shut up and drink your soup before it clots. And of course, we can do something really stupid here. If I don't typo it. Yeah, for that kind of action, look at the spellcasting. Talk to... The small voice whispers, "Shh, that's not vegetable soup they're eating. Mommy, what's for lunch tomorrow? Sauté adventure. Oh boy, my favorite. This is a bizarre playroom stuffed with deals with macabre pieces of equipment, including child-sized instruments of death and torture or a gallows, a guillotine, a rack, and the electric chair. The only way out is back through the west. Okay, let's examine the Iron Maiden. It's a child-sized coffin-like container that contains deadly spikes. Open, Iron Maiden. You can't open an Iron Maiden. Yes, you can. Otherwise, how do you put people in it? Its primary ingredient is a lethal-looking rope. The manacles hang ominously over the spiked table. Examine spiked table. The table is covered with nasty-looking spikes. Examine the guillotine. The guillotine has a razor-sharp blade that looks capable of cutting just anything. And examine the electric chair. It's a perfect replica of the electric chair, which is odd because I haven't discovered electricity yet on Taurus. Okay, and I have a note here, look under electric chair. Kevorkian Construction Company. Oh. Also had a note here in the silly stuff to try forget on table. If you did that, you would die a horrible, messy death. The blood would leak over your computer, and your hard drive would get shorted out. Then your heirs would call our customer support people and complain that we messed up your computer. They'd have to write letters saying how sorry we are, but we really hate to write letters, so I'm afraid we can't let you get on the table. All of which is totally fair. But yes, we came here so that we can put the coconut in guillotine. You place the coconut in the guillotine. The blade drops and takes a clean slice out of it. The top rolls away somewhere, and you pick up the coconut, you see a clear light liquid inside. Put rum in coconut. You pour the contents of the bottle into the coconut. Moments later, the bottle vanishes. Put umbrella in coconut. With a nonchalant flair, somebody who has been tending a poolside bar for years, you drop the umbrella into the coconut. It's a normal size, fine-looking coconut. There's a small umbrella sticking out of it. Inside the coconut, you can see some rum sloshing around. And just for the heck of it, we'll go ahead and save and drink coconut. You take a sip of the coconut and pronounce the contents to be delicious. And I guess we can't head northeast. Oh, we can. That's the way out. Alright, well. We now have the drink for Mr. Dork. Okay, give coconut to... The midget takes the coconut and takes a small sip. Wow, now that's a drink. The midget produces a lime from his pocket and says, "You put the lime in the coconut, then you'll feel better." Then he goes off into the house. Soon afterwards, he reappears with Mr. Dork trailing after him. "Please accept my most profound apologies, Captain Swamp. I don't know what it is that came over me." Dork produces the bolt cutters of doom and hands them to you. "Here, my friend. Free your compatriots." You snip the bolt in half and the cage falls to the ground. "The chain!" Dork shouts. "You're supposed to cut the chain! That bolt is the only thing that holds this island together! Run for your lives!" You hear a low rumble, which is immediately followed by a geyser of water that erupts below your feet, blasting you high into the air. You land on the mainland with a tidal wave bearing down upon you. You race away from it, tripping and stumbling as you go. When its fury subsides, you collapse exhausted on the ground. Outside a black gate. Okay, Eric, you're all set. All you need to do is break into the witch's castle and get L'Oreal out of there. Once you've got her outside the black gate, blow the whistle that she wears around her neck. The whistle will summon Pegasus, the winged horse. Get on his back and he'll carry you and L'Oreal home faster than you can blink your eyes. But remember, Eric, the prophecy says that Fudd will die at noon. The Bears game should be over by then, so I'll be waiting at the king's side, unless they go into overtime. You must deliver L'Oreal before the clock strikes 12, or Griselda will inherit the kingdom and all will be lost. Hurry, Eric, you haven't a single moment to waste. Oh, I do hope that I've remembered everything. It's been ages since we had a wedding here at the castle. The horses' heads are all boiling. I've got enough dogs to feed a small army. There's plenty of spleens on all the tables. There's a circle on the floor in the great hall so the stupid beast will know where to stand during the ceremony. The minister is roaring drunk, and the bride is still pinning her hopes on that incompetent knight. I guess nothing can go wrong now. Oh, Witchy Poo. When Eric is involved, something can always go wrong. Ominous music and an ominous black gate. And I think we'll go ahead and do the introduction here before we close this out. Black Gate. Even though it is daytime, this is still a gloomy place. A large black gate stands across the road that leads to the witch's castle. The ground here is littered with decaying grocery bags full of moldering goods. A cobweb skeleton sits with its back to the gate, its bony hand still clutching a heart-shaped box. You see a newspaper here. Get newspaper and read newspaper. Giant knight stalks countryside. Eric grows 150 feet overnight. Experts baffled. Swamp vanishes with big sucking sound. The Swamp of Perdition disappeared yesterday into what experts are calling a self-sucking stasis field. It began as a small gurgling noise, said one expert who asked not to be identified. Then it gradually grows, gaining momentum steadily until it starts to suck in everything around it. Soon it is so powerful that it sucks in itself. At this point, it stabilizes and it will remain in a steady state indefinitely as long as no one comes along and tickles it. Fools, hats, and chamber pots. New fashion trend. The new look of the dead Presley is taking tourists by storm. Thousands of Taurians are mimicking the sartorial choices of the dead minstrel, driving the price of chamber pots and fool's hats through the roof. They said I was an idiot to go into this business, said Wilford the Hatter to an Inquirer editor. Well, I am an idiot, but now I'm a rich idiot. I can buy and sell your stupid rag before breakfast. Well, maybe not before breakfast, lawyers don't get up that early, but before lunch anyway, and by tea time I could have bought it again. Now who are you calling an idiot? Help wanted. Handmaiden to the gods. Must be able to carry multiple steins in one hand. Must supply own breastplates. Blonde preferred. Right Valhalla Industries, care of Morty. Assistant whitewasher. It's not just a job, it's an adventure. T. Sawyer. Cadbury Table Factory, specializing in tables of unusual shapes for over 500 years. Rhomboid, ovoid, hexagonal, polyhedral. Good references. Windsor Construction Company. There will never be a better time to buy one of our newly constructed castles. Spacious dungeons, lofty towers. All malls have 3 bedrooms, 2.5 privies, low interest rates. Title insurance. Convenient to schools and shopping. Call now and we'll throw in the serfs. Step-parents, guardians. Has a small child with a portentous future been left in your care? Are you tired of black-cloaked figures skulking around the taverns of your home? Your worries are over. Just send the precious tot to Ecoli Deus Bel Inocus. Unsure whether your ward is a child of destiny? Just take the simple 3-part test. Does he have an unusual birthmark? Does a kindly but mysterious traveler with a gray beard stop by every few years to check up on his progress? Does he occasionally stand stock still with his eyes glazed over because he seems to be seeing a faraway scene? If you answered yes to any of the 2 of these 3 questions, then the Ecoli de Bel Innocuous is for you. Don't delay, write today. Alright, well, with that bit of mangled Latin I just read, we will go ahead and stop here, and next time, we shall prove ourselves worthy of the name Eric the Ready, and save the Princess L'Oreal, because we're worth it. We'll see you next time.